Welcome to Mondays with Mike, Game Changers in Lacrosse, where we cover topics related to lacrosse, education, and youth development. Today we're joined by Lars Tiffany, head coach of the University of Virginia men's lacrosse team, two-time national champion, distinguished Brown lacrosse alum, and a longtime supporter of Harlem Lacrosse. Welcome to the conversation.
Distinguished Brown lacrosse alum. There's what does that mean? There's some non-distinguished Brown lacrosse alums out there?
I know more than a couple, I would say, that are non-distinguished, but yeah, I wouldn't count you among that crew, but thanks for joining us.
I'm grateful for that.
So I think of you as someone with great perspective on the sport of lacrosse, given your background with the sport, your upbringing, your connection to the Native American origins, and the current sort of like state of the game as it relates to Native American connection to it. And of course, your experience as a college lacrosse coach and player for a long time. So given that perspective, I'm curious kind of what strikes you about the game? What are the issues that you think are the most important issues facing the lacrosse community today? What excites you about where the game is? What maybe concerns you? Where do you see lacrosse today?
Yeah, it's the game's growing, and that's exciting. It's super exciting. And we think about where the game came from. We all know about its Native American Aboriginal roots. But what's really interesting is what was completely a Native American game when it was adopted by the earliest non-Native members of this continent. It soon becomes a gentleman's game, like an upper class wealthy game. That's only found around like premier clubs and then universities where only the elite could attend. And the game changes the rules and is more formalized with rules. And so we have these sort of massive dichotomous origins of this game that we love, where it's this preparation of boys to become men in a spiritual and physical way of what I learned from what we call the Iroquois, now the Haudenosaunee, specifically the Onondaga Nation, as opposed to, and really at the same time, also growing up in terms of, the wealthier communities of certain neighborhoods on the Mid-Atlantic or in the Northeast, of the gentleman's game. But both serve the purpose, for me, of making boys to men. And what's exciting is now girls to women. I struggled with that at first because my Native American friends who I grew up with, up to a certain era, maybe only 10, 15 years ago, women weren't allowed to touch the sticks. The energy of the women was too strong to touch the wooden stick, to touch the metal stick as that we adapted to plastic 50 years ago. And so I remember asking friends of mine, like, hey, will you let your daughters play? Guys from my era. And they were torn. Well, luckily that's gone. Now we've moved past that. The most recent example being up there watching in Utica, New York, the world championships of both men and women's lacrosse, and watching women cross-check each other to the ground, and that's not a penalty. And talking to referees, it's the same rules. And so we've now codified this game. We have rules around this game, but I still think the missions, even though there was convergent paths, it's to where we are today. It's still about developing people, and whether the young people to be better adults, to be whether true warriors, or more so, warriors in the boardroom, warriors in the campus, make coaches be better. Development of, to me, connecting this game had these roots of nature, of the earth, of wood, of trees, of leather, of animals, and connecting it to the fulfillment development spiritually and emotionally. I was fortunate to have that connection with the Haudenosaunee, and my translation to it in my current status in the Division I collegiate world is to continue that spirit of that, just in a different way, with college students. And then trend from there, as you and I were talking offline, can I be someone who encourages others to transform this message, to continue this message moving forward, and so that we can continue this game of lacrosse, knowing where it came from, but all continue to be transformational for others.
Yeah, hearing you articulate that, it reminds me of what has drawn me to this work at Harlem Lacrosse. The sport as a tool for youth development. And there's so much power in the sport as a tool for youth development. And when we think about issues of equity in our society, it's something that can address those issues. We offer every child that we possibly can the opportunity to reach their full potential, to achieve self-determination, to set the future that they want for themselves. Kind of like what is a tool that we can use to help deliver that is, that's a big part of why I'm here at Harlem Lacrosse. I believe the sport can do that. And, you sometimes hear people lament or comment on the state of college athletics or the privatization of youth sports. But I'm curious, do you still see it that way, in the modern era as a tool for youth development when you talk to high school athletes and when you work with your team on campus and you see, you visit tournaments and whatnot, do you still see it the same way?
I do. I do. And there certainly are examples of others who are profiteering off of our sport that we didn't have in the past. I'm okay with that. It's America. We're on the North American continent where pure capitalism still reigns. And if you want socialism or capitalism, you have to go somewhere else. So if there are some people who are going to profit off their game, and so be it. I may not love it, but that's within their right. As we're talking a lot about rights, the Supreme Court, knocking down the NCAA and saying, hey, look, you can't take away the opportunity to profit off the name, image, and likeness. The Supreme Court's never unanimous about anything, and they were 9-0 on that one, led by Judge Kavanaugh. So I still think because we are, sort of a grassroots organization, the game of lacrosse came from the land, came from the people, the original people, the first people of this continent, and we still are small enough and we're still connected enough, and the bonds and love and joy of the lacrosse are still so strong that it hasn't been over marketed and over commercialized. And I actually look at Paul and Mike Rabel, the Rabel brothers. They've done it really in a good way. Yes, there's a potential for them to make some tremendous profit here, but I think they're going about it the right way. So here we are finally having professional field lacrosse at the highest level with fantastic lacrosse and a product that's relying on commercialization, marketing of the sport. But they're doing it in such a way that is reminding us all about the opportunities we have to help others, to bring others, to show others the game, to grow the game the right way. And so what you've done at Harlem Lacrosse and all the people who are working endless hours in the trenches throughout the different cities is tremendous. We're exposing people to a game that, when you put that stick in your hands, there's this love and joy that first time you feel that stick, whether it's wood or metal, but it's also this game that, just like anything in life, it demands a lot of hard work. But no matter who you are, just like this country, whether you are from poor, middle class, wealthy, you can make yourself a better lacrosse player, even if you're not the fastest person, the tallest person, the richest person. Stick skills, bam, 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 those endless hours of banging the ball off a wall, with a teammate, with a friend, whatever. And it just, it's a great exemplifies what we look for in society, people who can overcome obstacles and overcome what they've been in, the short end of the straw that they were given early in life, middle of life, late in life, whenever it was. But with lacrosse, you don't have to be the fastest, the biggest, the strongest. Man, if you can get that stick skills, if you can just keep pounding that wall day in, day out, month after month, year after year, you can make something of yourself as a lacrosse player. And obviously, the analogy makes something of yourself and your family on this planet.
Yeah, it's beautifully said. I'm thinking of a couple stories of Harlem Lacrosse participants who are going through the recruiting process right now. And one of the things that's very important to us is to serve kids over a long period of time. These are kids that we knew when they were quite young who overcome really serious and unjust hardship, things that shouldn't happen to young people. And one of them was just committed the other day she's a Division I women's lacrosse player. She's on her way to play college lacrosse, and the other is he's a senior, but he's going to play like highly competitive Division III lacrosse at a very selective academic institution. to be determined. But he has some great choices, and it's I think they embody that. That it's sort of doesn't matter where you come from or what hand you're dealt. If you commit yourself to this work, the opportunity is there, and that's kind of what we are trying to achieve. To say it's not superficial. If you show up and do the work, the same pathway that exists within the modern youth sports industrial complex, privatized youth sports tournaments, recruiting, it's all a business. But if you live in Harlem or Dorchester or Compton, California, or West Baltimore or North Philly, the same thing exists for you. And now the students at Harlem Lacrosse have many students to look up to. There's 100 kids in the senior class, 150 in the junior class. About half of those students will play college lacrosse somewhere, just like the half have in the previous 4 classes. So it's not just a pipe dream. These are the kids right before us, and that is something that gives me great optimism when you talk about sort of the state of the sport and the power of sport as a tool for youth development. So
Yeah, and it's fantastic what you just said there, and it's fantastic the results. And I truly believe that those who don't go on to play college lacrosse have grown tremendously from this. I mean, it's like this unusual instrument. Like if you put a cello in my hands, I'd be scared to death of it, right? But you know, if there's incentive to play this cello, to pick up that stick, that lacrosse stick, this musical instrument in a sense, and play with your friends and bang the ball off the wall and just bang, bam, 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 and all of a sudden you make something off of it. You've now had this experience of turning this a completely foreign object into an ally, into a positive weapon for yourself. So the next time you have a foreign object in front of you, it's not as daunting, right? And you can overcome it. So what Harlem Lacrosse is doing for young people through some of the tougher neighborhoods of this country, it's amazing.
yeah, it's I appreciate what you're saying about the kids who are not playing college lacrosse right now. About 55% of the graduating seniors at Harlem Lacrosse are going to play college lacrosse, and a very similar percentage are the first in their family to attend college. And there's lots of overlap between that group. So it's lots of kids are playing sports and lots of kids are not. And lots of kids are the first in their family and some are not. And so it's, but I think what we are trying to do is show young people and families that if college is something that is a goal of yours, it's attainable. We're going to support you along the way and we'll help you get there. And that's what we're out here to do. So I'm wondering if you're someone who's been involved with Harlem Lacrosse for quite a while, and I'm wondering if you can share a little bit about how you first got involved and just your perspective on the organization as it's changed over the years.
Yeah, it's this Brown Lacrosse connection. I'm the Brown Lacrosse head coach from 2006 to 2016, and a Brown alum as well. But early on in my career, probably 2010, 2011. Well, you would know better the original dates there. Saying, hey, we're going to be meeting in New York City. This one night in the fall. Come join us. And so I was there. Sort of seemed like to just push aside some desks, and push some chairs around and one of those original meetings. Like, hey, oh yeah, this sounds like fun. Let's get together. Let's talk. What is this thing? That Simon is talking about, and these other people are saying, Dom Starja, told me, man, this could be really cool to be a part of, and so I got to see sort of those original days of it, when it was just a pipe dream, um, and and I got to, I'm in education for a reason. Maybe I'm not the biggest financial risk taker. I'm not someone who dreams about this great next widget that's going to revolutionize the world. I heard the plan. I'm like, sounds great. Good luck. And if I can help, let me know. But I didn't do much at all. And but when I could help and participate a little bit, show up here once in a while, I was just blown away. Like it was working. Like a year later, we meet. 2 years later, all of a sudden, we're not meeting in a law office or wherever that was, pushing around desks and chairs. All of a sudden, there's like this grand gala, this fiesta. Everyone's decked out. It's this social scene, where to be in New York City this Thursday night. But the more important is to hear the early successes. And those early successes weren't like, oh, this guy's going to go to play Division I lacrosse, or this girl's. No, it was just like, We got great GPAs are going up. Attendance of school is happening. You know, we're changing people's lives. They're staying in class. They're going to school. And I was like, wow, this is really working. Just an amazing, amazing concept, and just the grit and the tireless efforts of the people on the ground, but then also the kids to believe in you, to believe in those people, and to give it a chance. It's what a success story.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that. I especially appreciate the reference to school attendance. I mean, post pandemic, there is an epidemic in this country around school attendance, and the numbers are really scary, and it's kind of something that I think the general public is not always aware of. But when I look at reports about the absenteeism in Baltimore City schools, I am concerned, about the future of the community. And that's something we work very specifically on is getting kids to come to school more. It's a really important determiner of their future academic success, and it's a place where we can have impact. A Harlem Lacrosse program director can actually influence that. They can get kids to come to school more, and that's their job. And we're doing it, And so I'm glad you shared that perspective because that's as much a part of what we do as anyone playing lacrosse, college lacrosse or club lacrosse or anything like that. So yeah, it, and I also appreciate the reference to the grit. I think there is something about the culture of the organization. Now there's at those times that you described, there were one or two people that were working with kids. Today there's 40 people who have the job of program director around the country, serving about 1,400 kids. So we have a whole team of people, and we want them to embody that same value of we're going to fight as hard as we can every day, and it's going to be hard. You're going to face things that are going to be challenging. The kids may not come to you saying, I love lacrosse on the first day. They may struggle with things. They may struggle academically. They may encounter things that are unfair in their lives. And it may make running a lacrosse program challenging. And that's the idea. It's supposed to be hard, but we can do hard stuff. And we're trying to maintain that culture even through like a big period of growth. I can tell you, having worked at Harlem Lacrosse for many years, it's an incredible feeling to go to a young person who has no experience with the sport and say, here's a lacrosse stick, and then say, what's that? And say, this can be yours if you want it. And there's a really comprehensive experience available to you that you can make whatever you want. You don't have to be the biggest or the fastest or the strongest or the richest. If you want to pursue this, you can experience the same joy that I experienced, and you can grow in the same ways that we all have grown for the sport. And it's an incredible feeling, and it's empowered by people like Tom and people like you. So thank you very much for sharing your perspective and for supporting Harlem for all these years. And we love rooting you on and cheering on your successes, which are many.
I appreciate that, even though Virginia does play Brown sometimes, and they did get us in 2020, um, and on a great day there at Stevenson Pinson's Field. But no, I appreciate what much more what you're doing. It's I get to sit in these high ivory towers of academia and elite lacrosse and get to be fortunate to coach some of the best in terms of collegiate players. It's the people who are in the trenches day in, day out, spreading the joy of this game, getting this first stick into people's hands, getting maybe a second stick into people's hands, seeing that growth and development, and being there for the hard times, whether it's on the field or off the field. I certainly see it both of those. You guys are the heroes. I just get the benefit from picking, you know, the elite of the high school world. It's those who are spreading this game and really, really understanding the message be done the right way. So grateful for Harlem Lacrosse, and certainly very grateful for you, Mike.
Thanks, Lars. You sort of, I think, downplay your role a little bit because I think it's important for the community, for young people who are playing lacrosse, for someone who's new to the sport, a family who's new, to see someone who's at the highest level, the very highest level, the most elite there is, the most competitive lacrosse that happens in this world happens at the University of Virginia. Conduct themselves the way they do and be thoughtful about the values that guide the sport because I don't think every sport has that, and that I think that really matters. So much appreciation back at you, and yeah, thanks for everything. I really appreciate it, Lars.
All right. Thanks, Mike.
All right, have a good one. Thanks for tuning in to Mondays with Mike, Game Changers in Lacrosse. We release new episodes on all major streaming platforms and the Harlem Lacrosse YouTube channel. To learn more about our transformative model and impact, visit harlemlacrosse.org.